Just finished hot yoga for the very first time. It's about 7:15 a.m. I drove home, and man, am I glad I did it. I looked like a fool. I was very bad, very inflexible, very stiff, but that's why I did it. All these ladies had their feet over their face and were doing triangles and pretzels and looked like graceful ballerinas, and I looked like a crippled old man trying to get himself out of a pretzel while I was gasping and panting and sweating and falling on the ground. But oh well, that's what you have to do. If you ever want to start anything new, you just have to be willing to look like that. So my ego kept me from trying yoga for a long time because I used to do it back in my P90X days and I loved it. And I was actually really flexible. I got to a point where I was really flexible and I looked like one of those ballerinas. But then I stopped doing it for 17, 18 years, and then I stiffened up through my 20s and 30s. Low 20s, super flexible, as I stopped, as I only did resistance training, and I ran a couple different times and did jujitsu, but I kept on getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. Now I'm 37 and I'm stiff. So I'm getting back into yoga, and I want 20 years from now for me to be able to say, when I'm a practicing yogi with my own yoga studio and I can do splits and handstands and all those things, for me to be able to say, I remember that day, I just did it, looked horrible, I was sweating, and I can tell some new student, it's okay, you can get better. But happy I did it. You just got to get that first day out of there. And let me tell you, it was tough. It was really hard. One of the hardest physical things I've ever done. Hour and 5 minutes long, close to 100 degrees, loud music, lights are off, you've got this much space to work with, working in the areas where I am not good at, all the flexibility things I'm not good at, and you're in squats and lunges and these, even just putting my arms overhead like this for extended periods of time when you're in a deep lunge is hard as hell. It was physically extremely demanding. And I got the same sensation by myself in this room as I did a year ago in jiu-jitsu when a really advanced heavy guy was on top of me and I felt like I was suffocating. It's a claustrophobic feeling, and I had to work myself through that. I haven't done jiu-jitsu for 5 months because of my knee surgery. I'm getting back into it. But there was a couple months where I had to tap because I got too claustrophobic. It was a mental thing. I knew it was mental. I would get overheated, I would have trouble breathing, and I would work this fear would come up in me. I go, and then I would have to tap, and I was terrified to roll with the guy again. It was just a complete mental thing. And the only way I got through it was by slowing my breathing down, forcing myself to breathe slow, and to tell myself, the only thing you have to do is tap. Because I knew I was creating this story in my head of oh my God, you could die. And that's what was taking my breath away. That's what was giving me the claustrophobic feeling. And once I would slow my breath down, this guy was on top of me, trying to choke me, and I wanted to see how long I could survive down there. Once I told myself, all you have to do is tap. If it gets too bad, just tap and start over again. That calmed me down. And I had to tell myself that in yoga today because I considered taking a break and going out into the hallway. I didn't really consider it, but the thought came in my head. I was I need to get out of here. Because I got that same claustrophobic, tight feeling when I was getting scared and fearful. I was oh, I gotta get out. Because I haven't done any intense cardio for a while because of my knee. All my cardio has been walking and jiu-jitsu technique, not rolling. So I was breathing heavily, sweating all over the place, really hot. I just felt like I couldn't escape, and I had to slow my breathing down and get back into it again. But after I got through that, absolutely loved it. And the instructor asked if I was coming back. I was yeah, I'm coming back. It's exactly what I needed. Opens up my shoulders, my chest, my hips, everything that's just closing up and getting stiff. It's exactly what I want to do. So I want to continue to do it 2-3 times a week so that a year from now I can be much more flexible than I am right now. And it's 7 a.m. my day's starting, and I already did a super intense workout and feel great. So hot yoga, day one reflection, gonna keep on doing it. I'll try not to turn into one of those crazy yoga advocate people. This is all they talk about. I don't want Rising Father to turn into a yoga brand. But I loved it. There you go.